The sporadic E. I put together a slide presentation, not because I'm teaching you guys anything, but because I want to direct our conversation tonight. And as always, I don't know anything. So please help me tonight. Always welcome to correct me. You're always welcome to tell me I'm wrong. And I will always shut up and yield to someone that's been doing it longer than me, which is probably just about everyone here. And I admit that openly, because I don't ever want to be accused of some smart ass guy that's been doing it for 9 months and he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm facilitating tonight, and I want to facilitate us having a great conversation about sporadic E. Sporadic E, what is it? Well, let me tell you something. It's an amazing phenomenon, and it affects a lot of different bands, but it also works with all the digital modes and a lot of different things. And we're going to discuss all this as we get into tonight. That right picture is from yesterday. That is a 6 meter opening that happened over Europe yesterday. And I've got some more pictures, and we're going to talk about that coming up. 6 meters every time. And this was me when I went there. I'm like, there's nobody there. It's like, I could literally have my own club there. There's like nobody there. And so there's a lot of reasons for that. And the main one is because it's really only good when there's either solar activity or there's sporadic E. So you need one of those two things. But there's also some other things that you can do with 6 meters, and we're going to talk about those here in just a minute. The neatest thing about 6 meters is it's open to everybody, technicians, everybody, and now there's no novice class anymore. So everybody that's got an amateur radio set of call letters can get on here and use 6 meters. And also a section of 10 meters on sideband, and we'll address that briefly. You can also use equipment you might already have. A lot of people don't realize it, but their rig probably has 6 meters in it. It's just that their tuner won't get them down there or whatever. And building a 6 meter antenna is easy. I built 2 this week. I rebuilt my extension cord one at the beginning of the week. And then I put together my H2 square, and I'll talk about that later. Antennas are as small as 9 foot. And you can also use your existing HF antenna if you've got a tuner that will do it. And I'm going to stop right there. Does anybody have any? Oh, I went too far. Let me go back. What am I doing? What happened?
Done messed up.
Oh man, I suck at this. You know what I need? I need a producer is what I need. Oh, what happened? View, present. Here we go. All right, we'll just do it. We'll just do it this way. I don't know what happened there. All I had to do was hit the left arrow, but for some reason I hit something else. Anyway, let's stop right there after we talk about the antennas. We are going to get into antennas in depth, but generally, does anybody have anything so far they'd like to add?
Somebody keeps chunking the repeater over and over.
Right now?
Yep. The 685.
Oh, I see that.
They've been doing it all day.
I hate kerchunkers. I don't mind every now and then, but my God, folks, you'll know when I kerchunk, because I kerchunk, I let it beep, and then I say KO4 EFS kerchunking. That's literally what I say, because it's so bad. Anyway, let's move on. You can use gain antennas and Yagis and homebrews when it comes to this kind of stuff, because 6 meters is really, it's still short enough that you can build it and put it anywhere. You could hide this outside your house where you might not be able to hide a long wire or something. When the band's open, it can make contacts with minimal equipment and power. You have to know when to be on. And we're going to get into that later. There's actually alerts that you can sign up for to let you know when the sporadic E begins to run. And it can be a challenge as propagation patterns are very unpredictable with this. This isn't like, well, okay, there's sunspot activity, so tomorrow's going to be a good day for HF. This is a little harder to predict and a little more of a challenge. And for all these different things that work on 6 meters, and we're going to get into all that. Learn some new modes like FT8. There's a lot of different modes when it comes to 6 meters. All the same digital modes that you're using now will work on 6 meters. I mean, that's basically the bottom line. And you can also get a bunch of awards. There's this is just an example here. The ARRL has an award you can get if you work 100 grids with 6 meters. I worked 2 today with my new thing out there, so I'm on the way. All right. Where does the magic happen? Well, it happens in the E region. And those of you who has been a while since you studied for your test, here's the regions again for you. The E region, you know, the D region sometimes can block us a little bit. That's a different story for a different day. But sporadic E, as the name says, happens in the E layer of the atmosphere, where most HF skywave propagation happens in the F region of the atmosphere. Now, I'm not going to get overly scientific, but I welcome anyone else to if they would like to. Remember, I'm not a science guy, but I do play one on TV. And basically, you can see here on the right the different layers. When the E layer bounces, when you get the sporadic E, it generally is not as far of a hop as you would get, obviously, on the F layer, because the F layer is higher. And so that I thought that was interesting, where, you know, your standard HF hops, what, 500, 700, 800 miles usually. And I know I'm totally like just throwing numbers out here. This is more of a 300, 400, 500 mile phenomenon from what I understand. It is the peak circle. And so keep that in mind. You can do double hops with this, triple hops with this, just like you do with anything else though. All right, what frequencies and what modes? Well, there you go, pretty much everything. There's a lot of different modes. There's FT8 on 50.313. That's what I'm monitoring over here right now, and it is dead. Of course, I got my Yagi shooting south, and both my contacts were north. So I don't know if that means my Yagi sucks or it's working really good. I don't know which. You can use all these different modes on there. They all have their assigned frequency, just like everywhere else. But here's the thing. If you look at this, data is becoming big on 6 meters because it is a tough band, but you can still, I could never talk to somebody on 6 meters, 100, 200 miles away when the band's crap, but I might get an FT8 contact that far away. Cause you know, that gives you, FT8 can go 4 times, 5 times further than voice and still get through. And so, that's what's so great about it. So there, that shows you there that data is becoming pretty popular. And this was as of about 3 years ago. So technician privileges, those of you who are technicians, I don't know, and I don't want to go down a roll call and see who's here that's a technician. I don't want to go through all that. Technicians, you know who you are. You are allowed to get on this stuff. I want you to notice, even on HF, on 10 meters, you are allowed to talk on sideband, phone or digital. And that includes FT8, and that includes some contesting for phone, even if you want, if it's running and you can get on there. And of course, you have amazing privileges on 2 and 6 meters, and that's the other side of that sporadic E band. So this is open to everybody that has a radio, pretty much. And you know, I saw 10-meter radios on Amazon, 10-meter sideband radios for under $200. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Here's your 6-meter band plan. We're not going to go through this all the way down this, but I do want to notice that it's set up just like anything else. If you're going to go there, take a look at your band plan. There is the AM calling frequency, and there's the national calling frequency, and then there's also an international calling frequency, just like, you know, most bands have that. And then there's some set frequencies down here, but you know, whatever. All right, so the most common 10 meter, let's stop there. Does anybody have anything at this point about the 6-meter band, the band plan for 6 meter, anything like that? Anything we discussed so far? All right. Now, when we're talking 10 meter and 6 meter, and sometimes 2 meter, we're talking about some different types of propagation. And I thought this was really cool. It's not just sporadic E, although most of it is sporadic E. I wanted to mention these. I want to take like 10 minutes and just talk about these other things because this is really cool. Okay. Tropospheric ducting is big. Now, sporadic E, we talked about. Tropospheric ducting, okay, is a big one because tropospheric ducting, what it basically happens is your tower or your signal is goes up into the atmosphere, and it's trapped between thermal layers, and it actually travels like through a little, let's call it a thermal wormhole as it goes up through Florida or wherever. It seems to run north and south. It likes north and south. And it likes between here and St. Petersburg, where that other 92.5 station is. But when Tropo starts running really hard, it'll push our radio signal on 92.5 megahertz down, and people will hear us in Alamorada down here. But people in North Fort Myers are hearing Spanish music from St. Petersburg. It literally shoves everything south because their signal ducks through the duck and then comes back down again right on top of us. And so this is a phenomenon that we can take advantage of. I woke up one morning and I checked in on a net on the 685, but it wasn't the 685. It was
I've heard that.
It wasn't the one in Bradenton either. It was way up in North Florida where my Yagis were pointed. And I had to look up what the PL tone was. I programmed it in my radio and I checked in on their net. And I thought that was pretty amazing. And what it was tropospheric ducting that day was really strong between North and South Florida. And I was literally speaking through a thermal tunnel in the atmosphere. Freaking cool. Anything on that?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Joseph. You're a little low, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. That ducting, it works on 70 centimeter as well. And I hear the Miami 444.325 repeater, the W4THM repeater from Miami. I will hear that here in Fort Myers quite frequently. So that's going about 100 miles coming my way. And I guess that's probably tropospheric ducting because I can get into them and they can hear me fine, even when I'm mobile on my way to work some days. So certain days of the week, it'll come in really strong. And I guess that's this ducting here.
Wow. I'm not 100% sure how much it's affected by it, but I'm sure there's always some effect. There has to be. And the other thing you have to remember with signals from Miami, especially the further south you go in Lee and Collier, signals from Miami, signals tend to run pretty good across the grass. There's just no cities or power lines between here and there. And I've noticed that late at night, I can sometimes get Miami stations pretty good because I'm just running across the top of the grass. There's just not a lot there the top of the Everglades. So anyway, yeah. So, but that very well could be. I'm wondering how much of that is tropospheric ducting. The next one is auroral propagation. This is one that's not as popular down here because the further away from the poles you are, the less likely you are to get any of this. But for someone further north, you could actually bounce your signal off the aurora and it would come down on the other side. If you've ever gone on and listened, you can go into each of these propagation modes on YouTube and put them in and listen to what they sound like, and they all sound different. This one has a real raspy sound, and this next one we're going to talk about, backscatter. This one sounds like you're in a cathedral, like you're in a big room. It's kind of it's kind of cool. I wanted to listen to all these earlier, and it was really neat. But you can actually listen to each one and know what it is. Backscatter is another one where radio waves are reflected back into the skip zone. It's almost like most of your signal goes out, but a little bit of it gets reflected back. And so someone that's only like 80 miles away would hear you and through something like this. It basically bounces back into an area where you normally wouldn't be able to talk to anybody with Skywave, but it's actually coming back back towards you in a way. And so that's an interesting one as well. Not as popular, but if you ever get a weird transmission from 60 or 100 or 150 miles away, and it sounds like they're sitting in a church talking to you in a cathedral, it very well could be backscatter. And that's the reflecting back of the signal of your signal. So that's kind of cool. Meteor scatter is cool. During meteor storms, you can actually go out and use this band. Is 6 meter especially is really good with meteor scatter. And when there's a bunch of meteors coming in over and over and over and over, you start to build up this layer up there where it will begin to reflect radio communications. This is something where, it doesn't last long, and it's something you got, it's more of a tough one to get. All right. What times is 6 meters best? Oh, you know what? I do want to go back. I want to go back to here because I just want to go down this real quick. Um, I want to just mention this because this is the crux of our conversation tonight is this page right here. And so I didn't want to skip totally over it. Sporadic E is also known as ES. Its propagation is probably familiar to many low band operators as the summertime or short skip on 10 meters. It is also responsible for most of the long distance contacts on the 6 meter band. It's the ionospheric E layer reflecting caused a small patch of unusually dense ionization. Um, it's almost like it's ionized clouds up there is basically what it is, and it creates a layer that seems to like these particular frequencies. But it peaks out May through August, and really it's supposed to be later May through June is really when it's hot, and then waning off in July. Supports single hops or multi hops. Its exact cause is not completely understood, although there's a lot of theories out there. But as you know, science is never settled, and this one really there's still a lot of theories out there. When this does open up, there's been some neat reports of people that have gotten really long communications on this. So it's going to be interesting to see. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that real quick. When is the best time to use it? Here's your, this is from Club Log, and they did a little study using the anonymous data. You know how they do. And it looks like June, of course, June is the big month. So we want to all be ready by June. That's why I built that antenna today, and I'm getting that antenna up because I'm really wanting to be ready this year. I want to get a lot of contacts on 6. So June's the month, and if you look what time is the best time of day? Well, it seems to be a late afternoon, early evening thing, and I almost you got to kind of watch on this kind of stuff because this is skewed just a little bit by the number of people that are awake. Does that make sense? I
Yeah.
mean, you got to look when you look at data, you always have to look at the data set. The data set's being done by folks that do this when they're awake. So there's, I don't know. But if it's a global data set, then of course the anomaly won't be as bad. So I'm not sure how they did it, but it looks like late afternoon and early evening. Anyway, and by midnight, it starts to wane off really fast. My experience is not that. My experience is that it really runs between 1 and about 5:30 or 6, and it's done. And it really gets hot about 3 in the afternoon. That seems to be the heat of the day, seems to be when it seems to run for me when I'm doing my propagation monitoring here. All right. How do you know when to be on? Well, DX maps, you got to use your real-time maps. I got so many screens. Sometimes I have 4 maps up on this one screen over here. I'll have 4 of those PSK maps up at the same time with 6 meters, 10 meters, 20 meters. I'm monitoring everything. There's beacons. You guys can use beacons. You can go listen and see if you can hear these beacons on 50.060 and 50.080.
Are those
And you can,
AM or FM beacons?
I do not know. I've never tried that. I'm looking forward to trying that. Once I get my beam to where I can get up there and spin it around this weekend, that'll be one of the first things I do. See if I can hear, because I can't hear these beacons now with my little extension cord wire in the yard. You got DX spotting networks, like we talked about. I don't know. That almost seems to be in there twice. But you can field days. I've been saying this for a while. I'm not in it to win it. I'm in it to fill it. I want to do my logbook. I want to get phone contacts in my logbook. And the best way to get phone contacts is contesting days. Join a contest. Do it. Learn the little stupid exchange and become very good at it. I love contesting. I'm putting together a contesting team. I love it so much. We're going to get our own call letters. It's going to be freaking awesome. But anyway, do the field days and the contests, and that's a great way to find people on 6 meters, and then just get on the air, check around, see what's going on. Now, DX maps, if you guys are not familiar with DX maps, you got to check that out. That's as far as I'm going to go. I'm not going to waste your time. PSK Reporter is my favorite. I love PSK Reporter. I've talked about everybody so much. I don't know if I need to go over it again, but it's just amazing. I'm not going to go down this, but this is just okay. You guys already know all this. Okay. This is the WSJTX software. I'm sure there's probably also a JS8 call and all that other stuff too. But this works great on 6 meters. I made 2 contacts earlier on 6 meters. If you're wanting to make 6 meter contacts and you've never heard anybody on there, you could download the WSJX software, put it in your thing and hook it up. And if you get everything working, in a couple of days, you could start getting contacts. So you just got to figure out where to go, where to point your Yagi, whatever. Like I said, I put a wire out here behind here made out of an extension cord, and I was getting 6 meter and 10 meter contacts. I just had to wait. I had to figure out when to do it. You can't just go out there and switch up. But I'm not going to go through all this because you guys know all this stuff. I want to take you guys on a little tour yesterday. I was at work and I'm sitting there and I'm like, listen, I'm going to go to the PSK reporter and see if that 2 meter, if that 6 meter opened up.
Holy cow.
2 meter opened up. Look at that. I was like, holy crap. That's 2 meters yesterday, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Then 10 meters opened up over Europe yesterday at 4:40 in the afternoon. This was the number 2 band. And it was running wild yesterday. It was like ripping like wildfire through Europe. The only reason it was not the number 1 band yesterday was because 6 meters was the number 1 band in Europe for 2 hours yesterday. It was amazing. It gives me chills. Look at that. That's a lot of 6 meter.
Holy cow. Look at that.
Yeah, man. That's a buttload of 6 meter. And anyway, and then here's 6 meter, number 1 band in Europe yesterday. That's what it looked like with all the bands combined. I want you to look at that. The red is the 6 meter, and that Barbie pink is the 10 meter, and it dominates. It dominates the 20. It dominates the 40. So it was the band in Europe yesterday. Didn't happen here. It just didn't happen over here. I also don't think 6 is quite as popular in the US as it is in Europe for some reason. Does anybody want to speak on that? Or anything so far up to now?
What I was going to say is that WSJT software, even with the clock perfectly synchronized, like, synced with Windows servers or with a special program, it will sometimes, when you first start it up, not pick up anything for the first 5-6 minutes that you have the program running. And then it will just randomly start working. Does that happen for you too?
Yes. How you can stop that is as soon as you start it up, go ahead and CQ.
Transmit out.
Once you CQ a couple times, it'll all start working. That's how it does it for me anyway. Yeah, okay. You just got to go ahead and throw a CQ or I don't know if Tune will do it, but I know CQ. Just throw a CQ out there. It doesn't matter where, and you'll get something. Even if you don't get an answer, it doesn't matter. The main thing is it somehow kicks it in the butt and gets it going. I don't know. That program has some anomalies. I'll admit it. It does. They did an update that helped, but it's got some anomalies. This is a wider view of yesterday. And again, the Barbie pink is 10 meter and the red is 6 meter. Wow. So cool. Yeah. Amazing. Repeaters. Did somebody say 6 meter repeaters?
I heard about those.
Yeah, I've never tried these. I've got a beam now. This weekend, I'm going to try to talk on one of these repeaters. I'm going to try to get it going, see if I can make a repeater contact. There isn't any here in Fort Myers that I can see. I don't know if anybody sees anything. There's one in Christmas. That's got to be pretty far away.
Wow, yeah, Christmas is several months out.
There's Naples. I don't know what CERA is, but yeah, there's one in Naples. That's the only close one, really. But I'm going to try to hit them anyway. A simple Google search will bring up any of this stuff, guys. You know that. So I'll leave it for just a second. But this is just there is 50 meter repeaters out there. There's no PL tones listed, so I don't think there's a PL tone. My radio will do PL on 50. but I don't think it needs to.
Wait, what are these?
Does anybody know?
No,
Anybody
look,
use
it
the
says
50?
tone. Some of them don't have a tone, but some do. Look, it says
Well, I
tone
guess there is a tone. Yeah, I guess it is a
T118.
regular PL tone there, isn't it?
Yeah. Some don't have them though still.
I was seeing the T and it was throwing me off. I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's a PL tone, 118.8, 94.8. So some are open squelch and some are PL tones. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, you would want to put a PL tone on it,
WB4TWQ.
or it would just sit there and kerchunk all night long.
Miami?
Kind of like our 685's doing right now.
Someone's doing all kind of.
Oh, were you still looking at that, dude? I'm sorry. Let me put it back for a minute.
Oh, that W4TWQ in Miami. There's a repeater close to here actually using that same call sign, which is just yeah. Here we go. There's one right by here. I only hear Spanish people on there though for some reason. So anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Well,
you can continue.
there's a lot of Spanish folks in amateur radio. I'm starting. You know, you can have more. Here's a dumb question that I don't know the answer to. You can have more than one repeater under your call sign, right?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah. So
As
I
many as you
mean,
want.
yeah. So they're probably just a bunch of guys that got together and they put up some 3 or 4 repeaters, which is something I may do one day.
The Spaniards Amateur Radio Club.
There you go. All right, let's talk antennas. Of course, my favorite part of any discussion. 6 meters. I want to show you guys tonight how many cool ways there is to get on the air. And I want to start with a disclaimer that I'm going to show you some popular ways and tell you that there's 100 other ways that I'm not going to tell you about tonight because I don't have time. The first one is a Yagi, which of course would be my first choice. I think that the Yagi is, it's by far the best overall antenna that there is, as long as you've got a way to spin it and put it where you need to put it. The one on the upper left is the one I put together today. That's my 2 square Yagi there. That's not mine. God, I wish it was. Look how high that one is. It's above the trees.
Wow.
But that one is like mine. It's got the same spacing and the same design. And I put it together out in my yard today. And I got a perfect SWR on it. And I went, yeah, my wife come out. She goes, what are you yelling about? I'm such a nerd. All right. So anyway, I need to be put down. All right. So anyway, Yagis are the way to go. 2 element, 3 element, 5 element. In my dreams, 40 element.
40 element?
Yeah, 50. Yeah, I want to do like a 70 element long periodical.
It's gonna be so pointy. It's gonna be
it'd be like a big arrow. All right. So anyway, 6 meter loop. This looks pretty easy to build. What does this take to build? Seriously. I think I got everything to build this one right now in the shack. So I'm thinking about building this one. The loop's only going to be like what, 3 feet across. I don't have the exact dimensions on here, but I don't know. I'm going to build a bunch of 6 meter antennas and see which one works the best. What was that, Rick? I saw your lips moving.
A Moxon, MOXON.
Yeah, we're going to get to the Moxon. Believe it or not, the loop is square or round like this. The Moxon actually has a specific design. It's rectangular. We're going to get to that in just a second because I like that design as well. And that's why I got it in here. But yeah, this is the loop. And then you got the old J-pole. And this is like the industry standard right here. But I think this is about as big as you can go with one. It's a pretty good J-pole here.
like a bird
sitting
at the top
to
of
sit
that.
on. Yeah, I found that picture. I'm like, I'm going to use that picture. I like that. But there you go. Just your standard J-pole. And I've noticed a lot of people are graduating the size as they go up, which makes sense. But anyway, that's obviously easy ass to build too. And then you got, I found this today. I never heard of this till today, admitting it. 6 meter Delta loop. I think I want it just because it sounds cool. So what kind of antenna you got? I'm running a 6 meter Delta loop. I mean, that sounds cool. That's like all
badass name right there.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, but no, this is pretty cool too. And you can do different things between here. You can put like a curtain and things, but And this is all wrapped down here. You can see it here in this picture. Kind of there's no good pictures of these wire antennas, because how do you take a picture of a wire antenna? I think the best way to take it's with a bright spotlight against a black sky at night. But nobody does that. Anyway, this is it right here. The wire's actually running across this pipe. And then, of course, you've got a coil here built in.
Is that ladder line?
Across here, I don't believe so, because it says it says printed spacers. So I think they're just running 2 to widen it out a little bit, widen the bandwidth out a little bit. You know, as you know, if you run 2 or 3 or 4 wires across there, then your SWR will get relax a little bit. You'll get a better SWR on a wider band. So I think that might be what that is. I don't think that's ladder line. And it certainly isn't up there. So I think it's simply they're using 2 pieces of wire just to increase the like I said, that, and also I think it increases your gain a little bit too. I found this to be really cool. This big one here, you literally hang
monkey bar antenna.
Huh?
Monkey bar antenna.
Yeah, it basically is a monkey bar antenna. Yeah, and the kids can play when they come over. But yeah, I like this. Just like with an Yagi, you've only got one driven element you have to deal with. The rest is just hanging crap in a tree. And basically, it's organized garbage hanging in a tree. But there you go. You could build this as long as you want. I thought that was kind of cool. You literally just build these things and hang them from a wire that you string between 2 trees. The bad part, there's no way to spin it around. It's kind of aiming wherever it's aiming. This would be good, like if you were in Key West and you wanted to do nothing but talk to the United States. This would be great. Let's see here. Ground plane. I don't need to go over that, do I? I mean, this was pretty straightforward. We can all build these in our sleep. This was an interesting one. An OCF sleeve dipole vertical. What is that again, Bob? Well, it's a 6-meter OCF sleeve dipole vertical. That's awesome. You know what I need is an Ed McMahon going, "You are correct, sir. Yes." Anyway, the OCF short vertical dipole, or HF, has become popular, particularly designed as a flagpole. This is designed to be, stealthy, because it's just a single pole, and you can see there it's pretty benign when it's up. There's not really much to it. But I thought I would add this in here if anybody wants to put that in their Google browser for later. That's the 6-meter OCF sleeve dipole, and there is a full build out online that you can download the PDF. There's the full build out with all these.
That's also known as a flower pot antenna.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, and the person who invented it died about 2 months ago.
Oh
wow. Okay, well, there we go. I there's so many people that have built things that are gone now, and God bless them. Yeah. Okay. 6-meter. There's your Moxon, and I hear nothing but good things about this one, mostly from Rick. But yeah, this one's a good one here. And another one that what does that take to build? I think I can build that. I can build this out of PVC pipe tomorrow, and then just have the wire pieces go around and just have the PVC go up like that. I mean, how hard is it? Yeah. So there you go. And of course, you've got the 50-meter quad, 50 megahertz quad. Look at that, man. That's pretty cool. This is nothing but just literally just wire stretched around 2 solid pieces of something. And now if I was building this, I would use fiberglass for these, because I would not want them to be conductive. But you could make it conductive. You just have to add that into your measurements. Anyway, always wanted a quad. You know why I want a quad? Because a quad gives you both vertically and horizontally polarized equalization. You can use it for either one.
Ooh.
All right, hex beam antenna. I love this one. This reminds me of what happens when the wind blows too hard with your umbrella. This is a great one here because it's directional. It's basically it's an alien version of the Yagi. I think if I had this,
How
I
do
would
you
want
know
to-
which way to point it?
You'll see there's a front. Where's it at? It's right here. See, where's it at? Yeah, it's right here. This is the front. There's actually one side of this antenna is actually curved. The wires do not go all the way around. The wires go around all except one segment of the hex. The wires go in and back out again. And that's where they connect. They connect there in that, and then they go out. And the way it's done, wherever that's pointing, that is the front of the antenna. And the back, of course, is actually quite good at excluding. So I've heard nothing but good things. We got a guy that one of our members comes to field day with one of these and sets it up and beats all our butts with CW. So there you go. All right, there we go. Fan dipole. I put this in because I built this one the other day. I built this one months ago, and then I rebuilt it the other day. This one's easy to build because your 6 meter, your 10 meter, you can build this for 6 meter and 10 meter. And the overall length, as you can see, is only 16 feet. You can literally do what I did, take an old extension cord, split it out, take the wires. I took a block of wood about this big, okay? And all you do is you put 2 screws in the block of wood about 2 inches apart, and you bring your wire up with your 2 horseshoe connectors on it. Your positive and your negative go underneath the screws along with I take a wire. Okay, this is how easy it is to build one of these. You take a long piece of wire that you can buy anywhere, a piece of stock, a piece of copper wire, or a piece of extension cord, whatever you want to use. It can be strenuous or solid. It doesn't matter. It can be copper, aluminum. It can be anything. It doesn't matter as long as it's not bamboo. And you stretch this all the way out. And what you do is you add 9 feet to 16 feet. Okay. Well, actually, that's total. You add 8 and 4 together. So that gives me 8, 9, 10, that's 12. So 12 feet. So I make 2 12-foot sections. And then what I do is I bend them around the screws at 8 and 4 feet, 8 foot from one end and 4 foot from the other. I go down, I measure 4 feet, and I bend it around the screw right at 4 feet. So now each one goes around the screw and they're bent right back out again. Okay. So the bottom 2 are 6 meters and the top 2 are 10 meters. It's all just one big long continuous piece of wire. If it's got the coating on it, you can leave it on it. It doesn't matter. You do have to take it off where it goes on the screw, obviously, where the electricity goes in. But that's all it is. It's 2 screws, 2 washers, 2 long pieces of copper wire, and a block of wood. That's it. And I hooked it up to a little short piece of coax that I then hooked up a barrel connector to, and I hooked up a little extension cord into my shack. And I've been talking on the windmill net with that. I've been making contacts all over the place with that on 10 meters and 6 meters. So I'm just telling you guys how easy it is to get on the air with these bands. You don't need much. And if you're in an HOA, you can put this in your attic. You can build it right into your attic. You just staple it right along the attic up there. We'll make a fan dipole for whatever bandwidth you want. If you want to throw 2 meter on the bottom of it, you literally could throw 2 meter on the bottom of it and hook it up to your 2 meter radio, and it'd work for that. I don't. It's amazing to me that you can do that. It's like the energy goes down the wire, and it's like, how does it know which one to go to? Anyway. All right. So does anybody have anything on the antenna part of this? You guys are either a tough crowd or an easy crowd. I'm not sure which.
Well, I don't have a lot of expertise in any of these areas.
Yeah, neither do I. That's the problem. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I know all my Elmer friends here that I'm looking at would correct me if I'm wrong. I hope. Please do. Okay. So, and then the last thing is,
There's no balance.
there's actually a song written about it. I don't know if you guys heard this song. There's actually a song written about the Magic Band.
Oh, that's gotta be tough to listen to.
It's Magic Band. You you guys buy the album. It's called The Magic Man. All right. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my little tour through Sporadic E.